Okay, good morning, everybody. I think this is working correctly. Shut down that text thread over there. We don't need any of that. Uh, and this morning I got a special treat for you. I got a little, gonna bring in a little Legion action, a little Mario here. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the assassination situation a bit more. Um, we covered it, but we were just kind of chit chatting. We want to spend a little more time on some more professional analysis. So I'm going to bring Mario in. Morning, sunshine. How you holding up?
Good, good morning, all.
Uh,
Doing well.
and yeah, we're going to be talking a bit about what happened this weekend with the assassination attempt. But
The
real quick,
unprecedented security failure.
yeah, yeah. Uh, the Hamlin's razor tells us never to attribute to malice that which can be explained by incompetence. Um, there are limits to the amount of incompetence that can be assumed to have co-occurred serendipitously without starting to look for a designer in the pattern, right? A, a black swan event, as it were, uh, an event that is just devastating and unpredictable. It is very difficult not to apply the watchmaker theory of God to to the event itself.
I
you
would
walk
say that.
along, you walk along a beach, you find a rock, and oh, hey, there's a rock here. But if you walk along, and you can assume that the rock just kind of ended up there. But if you walk along a beach and you find a pocket watch, you don't need to see the little Swissman to know that someone made that. That is not a rock. That is not a thing which simply occurred. That is a thing which had to be designed. But before we dig into that too much, Mario, and I know you're chomping at the bit there.
I just got a throwaway line. That's all.
Okay, hurry up.
I, I would say that Secret Service detail was as well organized as a dozen privates handed rubber ducky training aids and told to go run into the woods and play op for.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Once upon encountering the Op 4, when we were being drilled that you must be gracious when you're hosted by the local nationals, whether you know them to be the enemy or not, and most especially if you're not certain if they're the enemy. You must be gracious when they extend their hospitality. And the Op 4 served me MRE meals that had a ludicrous amount of salt added to them.
From who, Danny? From who?
I think he's talking about you, and I'll fix it on my end. No, don't you worry about it. I now ask.
Sound check, everyone. Am I coming through
That's
too
much
high,
better.
too low? We good?
Yeah, I down a little. Well, let me know if my mic is coming through too hot. I just trimmed Mario down. Uh, but yeah, much better. Anyway, like I said, before we get into the assassination stuff again, there were two major developments yesterday. So Trump has had a very good month. And frankly, even with the assassination attempt, because here's the thing, we have known, right? This assassination attempt was as predictable as the 400% increase to insurance premiums. It was as predictable as canceling the Keystone Pipeline and sending all the money over to the German side would cause American energy prices to more than double. It was absolutely predictable. But he survived. Despite all the odds, he survived because they have tried very, very hard to prevent that. But this month, we've had The Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity went Trump's way. The Supreme Court decision on the question of the use of the obstruction charge against January 6th victims went the right way and likely has freed hundreds of innocent people. Pitt Danny asks, did you look into the past of the Secret Service director? I don't have to look into the past of this DEI nut job.
No. Real quick. So she was in the Secret Service, okay, but then she did a corporate job where she was the head of PepsiCo security for a number of years. So security guarding the Pepsi, yes.
Yeah. But then yesterday we got the VP announcement, JD Vance, who I'm actually pretty good with. I mean, the guy's a Marine. I mean, he's a hillbilly. He's a country boy and a Marine. There's a lot to be said there. I don't like that he was a never Trumper. There must be room for forgiveness. But I am a big critic of anyone who is a never Trumper, because to have been a never Trumper means that at some point you took the position that opposing child mutilation and infanticide is less important than my opinion of decorum.
If you were a never Trumper, that means that I'm smarter than you, and people who are president or vice president should be smarter than me.
God, I would hope so, but Mario, I don't mean to stroke your ego too much, but hey, Sergeant Major points out JD Vance is younger than we are.
Yeah, he's 39.
Yeah, he is. Yep. Just a little bit.
Yep.
But
still a millennial.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, JD Vance strikes me as he's a product that has been prepaid for. So I'm not enthusiastic about it, but then again, I wouldn't be enthusiastic about anyone that Trump picked from the lineup that was generally accepted. So, as long as he's a net neutral, then fine, so be it.
Yeah, and hey, it's not Vivek and it's not Little Marco. I'd have had a real hard time with either of those for several reasons. I like Vivek for basically anything but the executive.
So to be fair, Little Marco and Trump, like on stage coming towards the podium together.
Oh yeah, they'd be rocks.
It'd
be hilarious.
It'd be twins. And then a handshake. That would have been Kino.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got the VP pick yesterday, and we also got the documents case was thrown out. And this is actually super interesting and important and valuable. Many people honestly thought that the documents case had the most teeth, and I had a little bit of an argument with Alex on his show last night, and he pointed out, because I said the documents case, it never had any teeth. It really is this simple. The president has plenary authority to declassify anything he wants to declassify at any time, period. And Alex pushed back and said, there's no case law supporting that. Okay, let me help you out real quick. You're right. There is no case law supporting that, because it is such a foregone conclusion that it has never been challenged until this case. It is a thing which has been accepted, and it is a power which has been exercised by every president ever, and was only ever brought into question when it was convenient as a character assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
Are you talking about Judge Eileen Cannon tossing out Jack Smith's horseshit?
Correct. And this bothers me just a little bit. Sort of. Unfortunately, the case was not tossed out on the merits of the case. which would have been very useful because the case lacks merit in the way that it does. But instead, it was tossed out on the theory, which is, well, not even theory, on the proposition put forward in Thomas Sowell's dissent. Not Thomas Sowell. Wow.
Basically, Congress has to initiate such a thing, okay? And Congress did not do it. Therefore, it basically
Clarence Thomas.
It was started under illegal premises, all right? And good luck getting Congress to agree to start one now after the dramatic events of this month and less, what, 3-4 months till the election. So yeah, it's over, done. And you know what? I don't care how it was done, all right? So I mean, like, how many Obama era judges are out there essentially legislating from the bench? Okay, and then you have a Trump appointed judge who decides to do the same thing and just say, you know what, I don't like it. I don't like it. You're done. Why not? I don't care.
So let's get to the security failure stuff, and you want to start with women had no place in combat, or start with how the fuck did you not put a sniper on that roof?
Either one.
Okay, we'll go to the aerial.
All right.
We'll go to the image. So, of course, I hate the screen sharing mechanism in this studio software, but here we go. There. So you can see here, this is where the stage was with Donald Trump on it, right? There's these three buildings here. So there was one Secret Service sniper team over here, and there was one on top of another building over here. And this is where that's not where the shooter was. This is, right?
Yeah, it's that building where you have your arrow.
This is incorrect. The shooter was on top of this building, not this building.
The ladder is in between those two buildings.
Yeah, right here.
The ladder was. Yep, exactly.
And okay, so I have not seen any footage of the ladder getting into position. I know. So
I don't know if that was already. I don't know if that was like mounted, like if it's actually part of the structure, or if that ladder was added. Okay, if somebody put that ladder.
So I've seen some still images where you can see the ladder. It's difficult from those images to tell if it's a mounted ladder, but it looks to me, because mounted ladders typically don't go all the way down to the ground. It looks to me like it's an extension ladder leaned up against the building. So, but I mean, even give them the benefit of the doubt and say that the ladder was there. Or no, let me back up before that. Either the ladder was already there, and that fact was somehow either overlooked or ignored by the initial security survey, or this dude was able to move that ladder into place without getting anybody's attention. Right? I find both of those to be concerning possibilities, because in either case you're talking about, well, okay, so no, in either case you're talking about incompetence that borders on all by itself, that borders on being necessarily deliberate.
That's a big ladder for a noodle-armed soy boy. So I don't know.
So you've got the ladder situation, and then apparently the new reporting on this is that as much as 26 minutes before the shooting, the first encounters happened with the shooter. Contact with law enforcement at some point, apparently. Now this one is being reported, but I haven't seen any video to back it up. Apparently, before the shooting, one officer climbed up on the roof, encountered the shooter, and was threatened by the shooter with the rifle, and backed up and got back down off the roof.
That's coming from the New York Post. Yep.
Yeah, and if that's the case,
Yep. The Uvalde moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I cannot imagine finding myself in a position where there's a man with a firearm and I'm essentially wearing an excuse to put rounds in him, and I don't take that gift-wrapped opportunity.
Yep.
You know, you cannot put a piece of chocolate cake down next to my coffee while I'm in the bathroom. I will eat that piece of cake. I've seen me do it. I don't care if it had your name on it. So
we're looking at this scenario here, right? Overview. All right. No. So the Secret Service detail, when they put together their security package for this event, the fact that building over there, okay, that area, which is a separate, it's like a separate light industrial compound, the fact that wasn't included is an unacceptable and honestly incomprehensible omission. Okay, like there should have been 1,000 yards out in every direction, okay, and different teams. There should have been a team on top of that building, obviously. And the fact that there wasn't, like you said, is a Henkel's razor or whatever you call it, incompetence, or is it malice? I'm kind of trending towards
Hamlin's razor.
Hamlin's razor. I'm trending towards malice. I think it's incomprehensible. 150 yards away, a clear obvious perch. Okay, like if you were looking at this like you're playing a video game, like a Call of Duty map, and you notice that area is not, there's no enemy over in that area. Like, of course, that's where you would want to set up. It's too simple.
Right.
I can't.
And here's the thing that really concerns me, looking at the map, looking at the situation, right? How is it possible? How could it possibly be that the shooter is aware that he can access that roof?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
apparently the FBI,
for it to be the case that there is no coordination between the security detail and the shooter, you have to expect me to believe that this guy shows up with a rifle and just walks around looking for a spot that he can get to without being noticed. Or he walks straight to the spot that he can get to, and it just happens to be left unsecured by the security detail. Neither of those, I cannot reasonably and intelligently believe either of those scenarios.
Nope. And listening to what Bongino had to say about it, who is a former Secret Service agent, it's there's no excuse. Like it has to be intentional. This was supposed to happen. I don't know why. If you want to,
Cindy says supposedly they decided not to secure that roof because the roof was too hot. Instead, they chose to secure the basement. That I had not heard that theory. I have heard.
Yeah, they were inside the building. Yeah.
Apparently, they were inside, and inside of that building was the coordination center. They were running all the communications and coordination for the several teams through that center. And so that's another piece of this equation that's very interesting. Donald Trump's security team was light. They had peeled off, some agents were peeled off to go and cover down on Jill Biden's event about an hour away. And it was filled in with local law enforcement. Now, Joe Biden has given his statement and made all the predictable overtures. Oh, we need to tone down the rhetoric of this country and bring down the temperature. And then, of course, Josh Shapiro, the current governor of Pennsylvania, has come out and made a similar statement. And Josh Shapiro is getting, Governor Shapiro is getting a lot of love, a lot of credit, a lot of, oh, hey man, kudos. This is the right message. This is what you should be saying. Let me remind you something. This is Josh Shapiro. As in former AG Shapiro?
Yeah, the election thief. Yes.
In Pennsylvania, who said in 2020, we will not allow Donald Trump to win. And I quote, we will continue to count until he loses.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
He was the AG supervising that election. Okay.
And now he is the
governor.
chief executive officer of the state whose local law enforcement allowed an assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
Correct, Waller.
And that's you're tracking that's reference to a specific statement, right? The Rhode Island State Police actually released a statement. We have investigated this and determined that we were not involved. Which I kind of like to hear that. I kind of like to hear that out of basically every state police unit in the country, just for the chuckles, just for the meme bait. But yeah, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go next? Or
let's talk about. I guess we could talk about use of authorization, like
yes,
or authority for use of. I'm sorry, it's early. What am I trying to say here?
You're talking about rules of engagement and authorization for use of force.
Authorization for use of force. Yes. Okay. So,
and I've heard a lot of people reply to the concern about the authorization for use of force. And okay, I've been out for a while now, but when I was active duty under Barack Obama. When I was in Afghanistan, the basic rules of engagement said that we could not return fire unless we were fired upon, right? Even if you saw a known enemy combatant armed, you were not allowed to fire unless fired upon, outside of a very, very narrow set of circumstances. I happened to be in a position where I had a separate set of rules of engagement because of the Sergeant Major wants a little more volume. I could do that. I had a separate set of rules of engagement, a little more lenient set of rules of engagement because of reasons. I won't go much further than that. Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Murray, yeah. I had a little more. No. And even if we were fired upon, right, outside of those very narrow circumstances that some of us had exceptions for, if we were fired upon, if the enemy who opened fire happened to be near a fruit tree or a food yielding crop, you were not allowed to return fire unless there was no other way for you to guarantee your own safety. And even then, it was touchy. Breaking that authorization, having to go outside of the authorization for use of force as it's defined by your rules of engagement, handed down from your command team and your leadership. You are government property. You are expendable in the face of maintaining diplomatic relationships, in the face of protecting civilian targets, for example. Believe it or not, the Army is more than happy to throw you away in exchange for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a reason the language that we use when we talk about a soldier, you know, when we talk about enlisting in the military, like, oh yeah, these guys risk their lives. These guys have volunteered to throw their lives away for the Army. They've signed their lives away. They've written a blank check. They've written a blank check payable up to and including. I've always said I'm willing to risk my life. I'm not willing to give my life. There's a big fucking difference. I'm willing to take the risk necessary to achieve the mission. But to just voluntarily walk into a suicide trap is a very different matter.
Right.
But the rules of engagement have high expectations of you.
Right. So Thomas Waller says that the rules of engagement for a personnel security detachment are very different. Yes, that is true. Okay.
Yes,
Now the
and
issue
it
is,
should be.
hey, you saw it, yeah, but the thing is, you saw on the roof. All right, you had the sniper team. They were trained in on the guy. All right, on the shooter for 3 to 4 minutes prior to the guy actually opening fire. And I do not believe. I'm pretty sure that in that situation, the correct SOP would be to alert the team around Trump to secure him immediately and then to take the shot. Okay, for them not to have taken that shot means that whoever was in command of that detail was telling them not to take the shot.
Correct.
I don't see any other option there. Okay, like I'm not really involved in security. My brother is. Okay, really excellent. He was a PSD operator in UCOM for a number of years, and he wrote security packages for HVI transportation and things like that.
Yeah, fuck, I'd love to get him on for a minute.
We do need to get him at some point. He's overseas right now. But yeah, I can't see them not taking that shot unless they were specifically told not
to. Sergeant Major points out Trump and Biden are both draft dodgers, and granted, and that's something that doesn't get pointed out enough because they love to say Trump's a draft dodger. It's like, yeah, but y'all, if you're telling me that, you probably voted for Biden, so you actually don't care about that. But I would also go so far as to say it's tough to point to a politician over the age of about 50. No, I'm sorry, over the age of about 70. And unfortunately, there are a lot of those who are not draft dodgers.
We haven't had a veteran in the White House for a hot minute. I mean, who was the last one? Bush Senior, really? Bush
yeah, it's pretty generous to call W a veteran. Bush Senior, Bush Senior was a verified badass.
I think Bush Senior was the last one.
But, yeah, Bush Senior could hug a tree and hang there upside down because that some bitch was qualified.
Yes, but then he sold his soul to the CIA, though. So
yeah, well, it happens. It happens.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay. And then the other thing that I want to talk about is this. Let me pull up a different image. I think this image pretty clearly will illustrate my point. Oh my God, fine. I need a better screen sharing system in this software, or we just need to start using the other thing.
Yep.
So this is the one that we all saw later as they were in the video around the around Trump's vehicle, and she couldn't get her weapon holstered. Now that, I mean, I understand. She's a woman. She's just been in a very stressful situation. She's flustered. She's emotional. And that makes maybe her hands are shaking a little bit. That is reason, however, for women not to be in these jobs.
There is a difference between men and women. Okay. Now, and making split-second decisions involving geospatial elements, that's a man's world. Okay.
Yep.
Like you saw the training video of that YouTuber who is part. Okay. Cheadle, okay, Cheadle, whatever her name is, the one who's the woman currently in charge of U.S. Secret Service.
Wasn't she supposed to do a hearing yesterday? I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything from that yet.
I assume it's coming. They just haven't figured out. They just haven't pre-scripted it yet. Anyway, but Cheadle, yeah, I mean her mission statement when she took over that organization was she wanted like 30% of the
30% women by 2030.
Yeah, and then they showed the video of like a YouTube personality doing training with them, and
yep,
I wish you could pull that video up because it's really telling.
It's very telling. And okay, so there are a lot of good arguments to be made about the difference between the way a man's mind works and the capacity of a woman to. Oh, Waller says her hearing is next Monday. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be that'll be very interesting and very telling. I'm amazed that we haven't already seen her resignation, because this was a failure.
Spin it. She gets a full
This is
spin it. That's nice.
well, yeah, and the Secret Service mission is it's referred to as a zero fail mission,
Correct.
right? For a reason.
This is a go operation.
Yeah, you would think that if you have a zero fail mission and you fail it this spectacularly, that's the end of it. Let me keep going for a second, Mario. Let me see if I can. I'm going to pull up the shot. Actually, this will probably do the trick.
Right, but the failure was at every single level. Okay, not just the Secret Service themselves, not taking the shot, not the lackluster dog pile that they put on Trump, which should have been done prior to the shots even firing out. Okay, poor coordination. Big one is the poor coordination between the Secret Service and the local police. Okay, because there were multiple eyewitnesses watching that man climb up on that roof. Okay, and they were desperately trying to alert authorities. Okay, they did, and somehow that message did not make it to to the 6. Okay, on that mission.
Right.
Even people in the crowd were waving at the sniper team and pointing, okay, at the guy. All right, and no action was taken until shots actually opened fire. The shots rung out. It's either breathtakingly stupid, or this was meant to be either there was a conspiracy, okay, within the government to take him out, or
well, and Danny puts his finger on part of the problem right here. He says if they have women, get big ones, and this was the next point that I was going to make. When we talk about women in military or in service like this, the Secret Service is Army, right? These guys generally have combat backgrounds, etc. But when we say there's no room for women in combat, guys, at fighting weight, I'm 6.5 feet tall, around 300 pounds. Hey, Mario can tell you this. Hey, buddy, how's it feel to carry my fat ass in full combat armor across a football field?
It's one of those situations where you kind of want like a hot can of Crisco to like open up with before I drag you.
Mario once told a drill sergeant we were doing training. We were doing medical training where you have a casualty and you have to transport the casualty and how you react to contact type stuff. And Mario, in front of a formation, says to this drill sergeant, he said, "Drill Sergeant Lowry will never be a casualty. He's cover. He's only ever cover." And I'm like, yeah, it's fair. You prop him up and shoot over his shoulder.
Yeah,
that's it.
If Lowry goes down, he becomes a fighting position. Okay, keep shooting.
And that's coming from. I mean, Mario's not a little guy. Mario's a big, strong man. And part of your job is to throw a big, strong man over your shoulder and cover ground with him. Now, we got this great image of Donald Trump putting his fist up in the air, and we might not have been able to get that image if his shift staff had been correctly filled. But as you can see, this woman, this chick, let's be real, let's be correct about this little girl, and I stress that little, is a problem. Because the job of the Secret Service in this situation is to surround the principal and protect him, is to become a wall of meat protecting the president, the principal, the protectee, right? And this woman, and she's not the only one, because this girl that you see right here is not the same one as the one that you saw hiding behind them. Right. In the dishwashing position.
Correct. It's a younger woman was the one who was actually on him.
There were two smaller women on the team there. Donald Trump is 6'3". These women are 5'6", 5'7" at best, right? And you can see the other Secret Service agent, and in the video, when you watch the video, you see all the men putting their arms up around. They're filling in the space. They're putting their arms up to cover the space that this tiny little woman is not adequate to do.
Right.
She is insufficient to the task. That is not a matter of being sexist, of gender discrimination. It is a matter of physics. She is too short to protect a man who's nearly a foot taller than her.
I'll give her some credit. She provided a solid dick block. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the Donald needs more kids. Oh shit! I've inadvertently exposed part of the thread. I hope.
Can't see the man behind the curtain any more than.
Well, let's see.
Have you figured out what that pulley's for? It's bothering me.
It's not a pulley.
What?
I mean, it was probably used as a pulley after it was put up there, but look closely. It's a training wheel off a children's bicycle.
I need to know. Are they making like candy canes? Is it like a?
I don't know what it was for, but I mean,
is it a hot candy stretcher? Is it?
There was something there, and I'm gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but yeah. Joe Buddy, watch the woman agent standing in front of the beast. They all were moving their heads constantly left and right, freaking out, not focusing on the crowd, searching for threats. All the men were calm. Yes.
Or they were freaking out internally, but they didn't show it. Which I guess is the same thing.
Waller points out he's not sure that those women were actually Secret Service. They may have been local PD augmentees. I don't know about that. I do know that the majority of the security detail on the ground on Saturday was not Secret Service. The majority of the security detail on the ground were local law enforcement augmentees, and that is not a good plan.
I'm going to err on the side of SS. I don't know. I don't think the local augmentees are supposed to be that close to him. I don't know.
Waller's talking specifically about the ones that were in front of Trump's vehicle, the Beast.
Oh yeah,
as they were putting him in. So the ones that were right there with him, getting him in the door, those were Secret Service.
Right.
Yeah,
the woman who couldn't get her gun back in her.
Right. And I mean, like I said, honestly, I can even understand that. I mean, Alex McDonald was talking about that last night, and he made a good point about it. And, even somebody who's done this before. I mean, if you've never been in a gunfight, it is a high adrenaline situation. I'm sure you can imagine that that's the case, but it is. I mean, it's more fun than we should ever be allowed to have, because it's kind of like smoking cigarettes or having sex. I don't recommend it, because you will never want to stop.
All right.
So,
any closing statements?
I don't know what else to say in closing. I cannot definitively say that, hey, Joe Biden planned this attack. But it's really hard not to look at what happened and say, yo, this shit's shady as hell.
What if? Okay.
Right. Okay. I got to share this while you make some final statements.
You want tinfoil mode? Yeah.
Go for it.
Tinfoil mode. What if this was orchestrated by the RNC themselves to ensure? Because the day after.
Yeah. No. I see where you're going with it. I don't buy it.
No, too much. Okay. Well, then the government really did try to kill a former president. Then. I mean.
I would go so far as to point out that we're in an environment where let's say the RNC was sinister enough to try a maneuver like what you've just suggested. The fact is that they would have to overcome the security apparatus, whereas which is currently under the control of the Biden administration. And
Right.
as we've just detailed, like with, for example, the appointment of Cheadle, right? We've seen this at every level of government and administration since Biden took office. Essentially, all of the leadership in all of the major leadership, and this is true in the officer corps of the military. This is true in the administrative offices of the administration in the various bureaus. Top leadership positions have been filled over the last 4 years entirely on diversity, inclusion, and equity program lines.
So
the Secret Service is under the control of a woman who has said that her top priority, a woman who is in command of the Secret Service, has said her top priority is making sure that the service is 30% female by 2030. You would think, perhaps, that the top priority of somebody in that position would be, protecting the protectee.
Yep.
And what should be the second priority after that? Policing counterfeit currency, because that's what the Secret
I got you. Yeah, that's also their secondary function.
Service was originally put together for.
Yeah. So it
was supposed to be their primary function, and then they picked up the detail thing. So,
do you think they'll try again, or have they resigned themselves to that they're going to lose in November? What do you think?
I'm starting to lean that way. I've heard a little bit of chatter from some of the other pundits.
Yeah.
That
they gave up. They're giving up.
Well,
why replace Biden? Why replace Biden?
I know you don't like Tim Pool as much as I do, but Pool described it like this. He said, "Guys, basically they're in the bottom of the ninth. They know they can't win this game. Why are you going to risk a pitcher's arm?"
Yeah, why substitute? Yeah,
exactly. So even Kamala, you don't want to burn. You don't want to burn an asset. You don't want to take the risk that if you 25th Amendment Joe out of there and let Kamala run with it, she loses, and that's it. She's out. She can never run again because she is not Donald Trump.
Oh, it just shows you like how. I mean, I don't. The Democrat Party's weird. Okay, it's like they literally have no bench whatsoever ready to like step up and take that top position. Okay, but they have like untold hordes of unwashed masses ready to commit violence in the street. Okay, it's like Jacobins without their mole or something. I don't.
Well played. But yeah, I think the current command and control of the security apparatus and the administration by die cultists is so complete and thorough that it is possible for them to have intentionally orchestrated and conducted this operation, but it is not possible for the RNC to have conducted it in a similar way, because
I agree.
Yeah, they would essentially have to be relying on their current political opposition, who we know through the illegitimate lawfare against Donald Trump and the weaponization of the DOJ and the staffing of top positions with die cultists, is more than happy to engage in summer of love type violence, May 29th type insurrection work, where you burn down St. John's Church, you throw Molotov cocktails and tear down the barricades around the White House and force the president into the bunker, and then spend 6 months calling him bunker baby until you get to start screaming, "Oh, January 6th!"
Right.
Yeah.
He's either a hapless fool or he's literally Hitler. It's one or the other.
Right.
With these people.
And somehow he's always both at the same time.
I agree with you. The RNC wasn't involved. I mean, but the thing is, it's just my trust in government has been broken so greatly that, you have an event like this, Okay, and then the very next day is the Republican National, or 2 days later is the Republican National Convention. It's like,
Yeah, that is
the
super
optics,
convenient.
the optics are so good, okay, for the Republicans that it almost makes you a little suspicious.
Well,
That's how it works.
on the other side of that same argument, though, imagine if this was carried out with total coordination with the administration. This was an actual full-on, like, National Democrat Party level conspiracy to commit the assassination of the president. Imagine what that would have been as far as the optics go. Imagine how those optics would have worked for the convention, because then you'd have been walking into the convention with the nominee eliminated, and no time between that elimination and the convention itself to replace that nominee.
Plus, without Trump even having picked a vice president yet, it would be a free for all.
Correct.
It would be free for all. Yep. Do you think they're going to try again, or have they just given up? You didn't answer.
I don't think they're going to try. I don't think they'll try again.
They gave up. All right.
I think they have to give up. I think they have to quit.
Yep.
As we approach November, there's some math that the Democrats have to do now. They have failed so miserably at the administration of government for the last 4 years that they need somebody like Donald Trump to come in and correct their errors, because the country is going at the rate they're going. The country is going to fail before. Okay, we're looking at people who basically have decided that this country is en route to failure. This country is already moving toward complete collapse. And there are people who want that. And they want it not because, at the level of the Democrat politician, the accelerationist Democrat politician, they want the collapse not because they believe the rhetoric that their voters buy into, which is America is an evil country that was founded in slavery and brutality, and it's just evil, 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 and it should be destroyed because it's so evil. Okay. So the politicians, the higher level politicians, your Nancy Pelosi's, your Biden's, your Clinton's, etc., that espouse those views and run on those views and pander to those voters, they don't believe any of that nonsense rhetoric. What they do believe, however, is that empires only last for so long, and we're coming to the end of this empire. So
2 more weeks, Bear. 2 more weeks. Okay.
So the time has come in their estimation to basically go ahead and take all the meat off the bones as fast as they can before the corpse hits the ground. They have not finished doing that. So they need somebody like a Donald Trump to come in and keep this thing afloat for a few more years. And then in order to retake the command and control, to further pursue the delivery of this nation's valuable, profitable collapse into the World Economic Forum, whatever you want to call it, globalism conspiracy, the one world order, eat the bugs and live in the pods shit. In order to create that global ghetto, which is the final objective, they need somebody like a Trump figure that they can blame all of Biden's failures on when they get somebody in office in 2028. Well, in 2029. So they're going to run somebody in 2028 that is going to their entire platform, no matter how good we're doing after four more years of Trump, their entire platform is going to be Trump's a Nazi and everything is his fault. No, forget about when Biden canceled the Keystone Pipeline. Gas is still $1.97 a gallon instead of $1.12 a gallon because Donald Trump something orange or something Cheetos.
A successful presidency, a successful second term by Trump is simply not enough. Okay, because you've seen with Joe Biden, okay, with what the Democrats will do, they have no problem within the first 2 weeks of taking office just signing 30 executive orders, wiping away 4 years of progress. Okay, and they will. So a Trump second term has to actually cause fundamental change in DC. Okay, that's part of the like this Trump revolution. Okay, we really wanted Trump to remake, or if he couldn't remake it, then destroy, and then have a new party be rebuilt around Trump. Okay, but what it's looking more likely is that Trump has effectively been co-opted by the Republican Party. He no longer he didn't conquer the GOP. He was simply captured by the GOP, and I think the bullet to the head thing. I hope it didn't scare him. I hope it didn't scare him because
you know what,
it's what it looks like.
this assassination attempt may prove to be the best thing that could have happened to the United States. Imagine what you would do if you were in Trump's position and you go on and win the presidency. Everybody,
Presidency.
wrap them up.
Yeah.
Rashawn, Bragg, Fannie Willis, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe. Hey, by the way, Joe, turns out, the way the law works is your competency to stand trial does not change the fact of the matter of your competency to have committed the crimes. Hey, Hunter, you know what? We fixed all the Second Amendment problems, so we're dismissing all your charges over the guns, and we're going to lock you up for the crack and the prostitution and the child rape. But hey, no gun charges, right?
When was the last administration that came in and effectively cleaned house? We're probably going
Obama.
back. Yeah, you're right, but for the other team.
Yeah, as soon as Obama took office, he fired everybody and brought in his own people.
Well, that's what you need. You need to counter Obama. That's what Trump has to do.
So this. I was watching Carl Benjamin the other day, Sargon of Akkad, and he was saying, if I was to be elected president, I would start by looking at all the projects that are going on right now. Like, you got your funding approved for your new FBI building. Cool. We're going to put that in the middle of Oklahoma.
Yep.
New CDC building? Yeah. We found this great empty chunk of pasture in Wyoming.
Yeah.
The fact in fact, like I wouldn't even go to Oklahoma and Wyoming. I would put every bit of the bureaucracy right along the Canadian border. I would go as far cold and north as I could go with every bit of it, or into the middle of the least comfortable Texas, New Mexico, Nevada deserts. It's like, we need a new bureaucrats fucking complex with all the buildings. Yeah, okay, let's put it in the middle of Death Valley.
Let's put the Department of Homeland Security in El Paso, Texas.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anytime you have a situation where 3 out of the 5 richest zip codes in the country are in DC, in the DC area, that's your sign that you might want to break that up. Way too much concentration.
Oh no, Southdown. Alaska? No. Alaska's beautiful, man. We can't put them in Alaska. We fuck up the Sergeant Major's ice fishing trips. And Southdown weather works.
Maybe we can do a. Maybe Trump.
Okay, check it out. Southdown weather works. I'm going to ask you now, and I'm not going to do it today, but I would like to be able to tell everybody who you are, but I'm not going to do that without asking you if it's okay. I'm pretty sure you'd be cool with it, but I'm definitely going to mention it in the infamous thread. So it's funny. Mario, you will not be as entertained by this, but as will every single other person in the thread. But that's okay. And okay, so I think that's all I've got. I think I've gone as far as I need to down the rabbit hole. Do you have anything else? Oh wait, Turning Gun says, "Quit picking on Wyoming. Leave us alone."
No, Cheney is yours. You will accept it. You will take that L. Okay. Sorry. No, I have nothing else. Wyoming has to be
okay.
And Jackson Hole, like you host the Fed. You host the Fed, and you have the Cheneys. Okay, I'm sorry. Compromised.
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in it right there. Mario, stick around after the show for just a minute. Actually, forget that. I'm going to go ahead and kick you out, and I'll give you a call right after the show. Right. So thanks for joining us this morning, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. I think we had some good chuckles. And yeah, thanks for watching. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow. Oh, and hey, I figured this out.